Hello everyone, and welcome to another deck deep dive video for Steel Division 2. This time featuring one of my favorite divisions currently in the game, especially for the Allied side, a division that I love to pick in tournaments as well. And in my standard version, the 8th Indian Infantry comes also with a nice income. V for Victory, income that has now a bit more use than before. I would say it's a bit closer to the top tier incomes out there. And I would say it's somewhat competitive with them now, as both Maverick and Balanced got nerfed. Balanced by 5 points in B phase, Maverick by 5 points in A phase. So against Maverick, this matchup, as you can see, is still super hard in B phase, as the opponent will get 80 points more, will at the end of B phase be 600 points ahead of you. You will catch up relatively quickly, 80 points per tick in C phase. You will get double the income of the opponent there, but that still means that you are super far behind for 10 minutes or so, and in the middle of B phase till like 5 or 6 minutes into C phase. So 10 minutes that you will have to fight a tough fight of survival. Against Balanced and against Vanguard though, I think the matchup is way better, as you're only 5 points behind Vanguard in A, you are going ahead against Balanced in A, then you're dropping a bit off in B phase, but you're even a bit better in C phase again. So Balanced has to use their income advantage in B phase, which only is, when if you calculate it, at the end of B phase, 150 points, as you go 250 points ahead in A phase. And they have 400 points more than you in B phase, but that means only 150 points in the end of B phase. And you can use that A phase income to maybe push them in a bit, and then survive till B phase. Sure, you're not catching super fast up in C phase either. You're only going even again really late in the game. But you're on par with them in C phase again. And the Vanguard, the advantage you have in A phase in my eyes is really helpful to help you out pushing in. And the Indians have some things that I like to push with early on, and that's why I play them with V for Victory. Those units to push with are Assault Pioneers, Snipers, Autocars, Shermans. Vickers MGs and Jeeps is also lovely, and then also getting in some Boston Bombers that deal a lot of damage as well. And then in B phase, you dug in on a 1311 or 159, if you get up to a 59 in A phase, and just try to survive, maybe give up a bit of ground. And then in C phase, you have a lot of lovely artillery to support you throughout the game. You have a good amount of infantry to survive there as well. But let's go tab by tab and jump deeper into this division. In the Recon tab, you have a solid sniper team. The only issue with the Indian scouts is that the ammo on the Lee Enfield is not as high as it could be. That's really the only issue I see with this unit in particular. But other than that, for 25 points, you get a solid sniper team. Another option would be the scouts with Piat. If you feel like you need more Piats, instead of one of the scout cards, you could use a Piat card, but I feel like I don't need anti-tank too much. The Mark IV Humber is also a decent vehicle. The reason I take the autocar is the slightly higher range, but especially the radio. The radio is coming in pretty nicely. The 50 cal also helps out to suppress your infantry relatively well too, but the radio is needed for really good artillery coming in the artillery tab. And then the infantry tab, which is just the strongest Commonwealth infantry tab by a good margin, even outclassing the New Zealanders in my eyes, as you get quick frontline CQC infantry, and in good availability, both come with 9, 18, 27. I go with the Assault Pioneers in A because I like Flamers in A, and both can come in Villies. And Assault Pioneers beat out normal 2-man Flamer squadrons, as they have more damage output than them, so that is quite nice. And you, together with Indian Rifles, they give you a nice forest fight capability as well. Indian Rifles outclass normal rifles by having 2 more Lee Enfields and switching out the Sten SMG for Thompson, which just has better damage output. So for the same price, you get a unit that has Raider, 2 more hit points, and a Thompson, which makes them worthwhile. Yes, normal Commonwealth rifles, not that amazing. Indian rifles tank well for you and have some damage output in CQC with the Bren and the Thompson firing there. Rifle Piats are your classic Rifle Piats. The reason why I take them in A is because I like to have a Piat in A, and the other infantry doesn't come with it. And you only get 2 cards of Gurkha rifles. Like if there would be 3 cards of Gurkha rifles, I would take one in each phase. But because if you compare them, they also have the brands, but they also get 2 more men, 2 Thompsons, or 3 Thompsons, like 1 Lee Enfield guy because the Thompson guy, which is super good because the Thompson is a great SMG. And they have Raider and Fanatical. So this is an insanely high quality squad for 25 points. 2 long range fire weapons, 3 SMGs, and 2 extra stats on top with Raider and Fanatical, helping the squad out to be a insanely good mid-tier cost unit. Maybe the best infantry on 25 points in the game, when it comes to being a generic, like all-around good infantry unit. Gurkha rifles for sure deliver that to you. And together with some Indian engineers, they give you in B phase the extra support you need. And the Indian rifle leaders in both phases are a nice addition as well, as they also come with a sniper rifle. Are a nice 7-man survivable leader squadron, come with a radio as well, which will help you out your artillery. In A phase, I go with some engineer leaders that add up the TNT that I don't get in A because I have the field engineers in B. So together with the assault pioneers, the engineer leader, and the rifle leader, I have TNT, flamethrowers, and some meat shield. Indian rifles always should go first in those engagements, and then the flamethrowers and the pioneers should come in quite quickly. And then in C phase, more Indian rifles, more Gurkha rifles, just for the tanky, for being able to go deep with the stack. And then you end up with 96 infantry, all on veterancy, other than the CQC units that don't really need it. And you can go deep with solid firepower, and still can spam out a lot of things, because nothing goes above 25 points. So, a really strong tab there. In the tank tab, we only have Shermans, but Shermans are the great addition in this, as you can deal with medium tanks with this, you can help out in the infantry fights, and Sherman feel like this a good tank to push early on with. I have 1 card in each phase. In C phase I go for 2 star veterancy, as I don't see myself using too many tanks, so veterancy is more important than numbers. I don't need more than 23 tanks in this deck. Plus, when it comes to anti-tank, you have 2 more other cards that deal with heavy tanks for you. One of them is the 17 pounder, one of them is the Hurricane coming in later. Support tab is the weakest tab of this whole deck, as you don't get too many choices here, but you still get some Vickers HMGs that will help you out dealing with any like bit more long range positions that might need protection against infantry spam. And there the Vickers HMG can hold the line pretty well for you, give you some fire support maybe as well. For pushes, commander options are decent as well, with a normal commander, a Sherman commander, or a Dingo. I go for the Dingo for some mobility in my commander. Could see the normal commander as well though, but 4-man commanders are rather flimsy, and the Dingo, I like the mobility as I said. 1 supply deck coming in here in B, 1 more coming with artillery later, so my artillery will have enough supplies as well to get through the game. AT, I considered for a while to maybe use the Piat card here, but in the end I realized I just need the anti-tank guns, and I have 2 in A, a 70 pounder and a 6 pounder, and 2 in B, a 6 pounder and a 17 pounder there as well. A 6 pounder here with veterancy, because I don't feel like you need quite 9, and the extra accuracy and rate of fire on 6 pounders can be pretty helpful on making them more efficient, more cost efficient against enemy units. Especially in 50-minute time limit games, you don't need that many of these. And the 17 pounder is just there for a 2000 meter anti-tank, can deal with every kind of medium tank, can deal with most heavy tanks as well. As the only issue here is the accuracy. You kind of want to have them next to leaders. If you can upvet them, 17 pounders are really good. And then AA, you have the options between Crusaders, Mark IIs, which are decent at the moment as well, but I just like the basic Bofors, as this gives you protection against any kind of bomber. With 1 star accuracy, they're pretty functional and can kill any lighter plane, and with 2 or 3 of them you can kill every heavy plane as well, so they just give you the security you need against AA. And with 6 you also have enough numbers to replace 1 or 2 losses relatively easily as well. Then one of the best tabs comes in, one of the best artillery tabs in the complete game in my eyes, because you have off map. You can only take in an A, which is one of the weaknesses, more of the reasons why I play this before victory, because you want to push with this early on maybe. And then you have the BL 45 inch 114mm artillery piece with just an insanely good artillery for the price. It has good rate of fire for 140mm with 5 rounds per minute. It is super cost efficient for 140mm as well. Few of them cost so little. And it has radio. And it is already pretty accurate without radio. So with radio it becomes really accurate. And you can hit enemy AA pieces really efficiently with this. You can hit enemy AT pieces really efficient. And you can also even kill off tanks with this, as it has enough damage compared to maybe 75mm artillery pieces and so on to deal solid amount of damage to tanks as well if it has some direct hits, making it one of the best artillery pieces in the game. In my eyes, the favorite allied artillery piece for me, the favorite direct artillery piece on the allied side. Only the K35T and the Italian artillery pieces. I guess the Italian pieces are also on the allied side, but outside of the Italians, this is really a lovely artillery piece and outtrades a lot of other artillery pieces out there. It can be used for counter battery, it can be used for direct hit. It's just super versatile, and it comes for really small price for an artillery of this caliber. So I recommend using them as much as possible. I often bring them in minute 4 or 5 if I realize I can't push super deep, and then start already trading with them then. Or I start to bring them in the end of B phase, and just if the game goes long, they give you so much value. That's basically the two versions of how it works. And either they start out from early on, forcing the enemy to attack into you later on, because otherwise these will just give you such good trades that the enemy can't come back from it. Or I bring them out later to make a stalling game go into my favor by killing off some important units, enemy commanders, enemy AA, so that my bombers can get through, or enemy AT so that my Shermans can push through as well. And yeah, my bombers ain't weak either, as we have some Boston options with 227 kilogram bombs, so they do damage, and they are pretty cheap for that. Like, they are fast, they only have medium resilience, but they have good bomb load, and you add that with good fighters and some anti-tank options. Hurricane's not the most amazing anti-tank plane, but it can kill everything with side shots, and it can penetrate all medium tanks with frontal shots as well. So it's a pretty nice option to have as well. Spitfire Recon is a viable option as well if you want some good recon plane. I feel like I don't have the slots here. I want to have the option to go heavy bomber later on in the game, so that's why I have this setup here. So yeah, as you can see, the only thing lacking maybe is a heavier version of a Sherman, like a Sherman with a 17 pounder, like a Firefly, or a Sherman 76 would be nice to have. Everything else basically is covered. You have good anti-tank, you have great artillery, you have solid AA, you have a good air tab, you have a great infantry tab, and you have a solid recon tab as well, making the 8th Indian one of the most cost-efficient decks in the game, and one of the most versatile in my eyes as well. A lot of fun to play, super good one in ranked always, and you can play them on all incomes. You can play them Vanguard, playing around the off-map, playing around a lot of Shermans, vetting up maybe a couple of Gurkha rifles even higher, as you can bring them in A as well. They're not like Niseis, so you maybe can take both cards on 2 Savage C and then push early on with that in a Vanguard formation. You can play Maverick and just try to finish the game with a heavy push in B phase, with some bomber support maybe and 1 card of artillery. Or you can just play them balanced and play it somewhat similar to this situation. But for me, it's V for Victory, but let me know what you think about this. Do you think V for Victory has some good matchups now, or do you still think it's rather useless? And what do you think about the balanced income in general at the moment? Let me know down below. And yeah, next game on this channel will be a game with this division, so look forward to that, and see you all next time. Bye bye.